Welcome back to the Virtual Antics podcast, where we give ideas and encouragement to women entrepreneurs who just want to live their life while running a business. Today, I have Hannah with me. Hannah is the CEO of Home Studio List. I'm so excited. Welcome, Hannah.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for. So, can you tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got started?
Absolutely. I am the founder and CEO of Home Studio List, studiolist.com. We are a platform of real homes that are available to rent by the hour for photo shoots and video productions in cities all across the US and Canada, which is coming soon. We essentially help homeowners make passive income by renting their homes hourly to photographers, videographers, and content creators. And we do that all across the US.
That is so cool. So now, how did you get started? Because this is such a unique business.
Thank you. Yeah. So my background is actually in photography. I put myself through college shooting weddings as I was, going to school. And I had that background, eventually moved out to San Francisco where I worked at startups and design as a medium for a couple of years. And I had this gorgeous studio apartment. It had amazing natural light. And with that photography background, I had wondered if there was the potential to offset my rent a little bit because I lived in San Francisco and rent is crazy out there by renting my studio to photographers to make a little bit of extra money. And so I started spreading the word and getting that out into the photography community, and it caught on so quickly. And within a matter of months, I was making thousands of dollars going to my full-time job and letting, some photographers come over to my apartment and be creative during the day. And after testing that idea and like incubating it, going through the, process of hosting myself, after about a year, I decided maybe I should create a platform so that other people can interact in the same capacity with brands as I had. And that was the early stages of Home Studio List in the online platform that it is today. And that was 6 years ago. So we've come a long way since then, but that's kind of like the heartbeat of how we got started.
That is so cool. It's funny how life puts us in these situations like where you were trying to, afford your rent, and that it kind of led you to, your business, which is absolutely amazing. Can you tell me about some of the things or opportunities that your business has granted you?
Yeah, totally. So I think over the past now 6 years, the evolution has been such a journey. And kind of like what you were saying earlier is originally I was a photographer, and that made me have this desire to, had this interest in big companies and startups. And as a photographer, I felt there was, a ceiling to what I could physically do myself in a year. You can't shoot more than X amount of weddings, and therefore you can't make over X amount of dollars and whatnot. And I really had this desire to understand what it took to excel in a startup or create a startup that, was making millions of dollars and was definitely that like next tier of company. And so I moved to San Francisco and I was working in startups and really got the understanding of what it took to run one. And then through an infusion of both of those things, I arrived at Home Studio List. And so now I've been doing that for 6 years. And in the very beginning, it was very much, very excited grind. I'll say I worked nonstop and I also had a full-time job. So I was building home studio nights, early mornings, weekends. I had such a full workload, but it was so fulfilling. And I really think there's nothing like the beginning of a company when you're so excited about it and there's nothing but opportunity and everything feels like there's so much momentum and everything you do just has this like direct output in the creation of the company. And then maybe 2 years in, there was a bit of a period where I wasn't really like, I'm a profitable business. We don't have investors. I have very limited resources. And while the company was growing, it wasn't necessarily enough to afford full-time employees, to afford marketing initiatives. And so there was this period where it was a lot of grind and it was starting to feel a little bit monotonous, might not be the right word, but just hard to see the future. Like there was so much more maintenance and upkeep required. And I realized I was kind of hitting the maximum of what I was able to produce and output on my own. And so that's when I started really focusing on scaling our team. And through the efforts of scaling and growing our team, that's how we achieved like actual massive growth. It was such a valuable lesson. And like, you can't always do it alone. And for somebody like myself, I'm very much kind of like a lone wolf. I love like having my own set of initiatives and like running with them, but I had to learn that that's not always conducive to the growth that, you know, I was looking to achieve. And so really focused on that for a couple of years. And now we're in this beautiful, like magical place where we have an incredible team and we've just been growing like crazy, producing so much. It's so awesome to be like in this position where I'm able to like direct a little bit more and see the bigger picture and like move us into, you know, new directions and shape that journey a little bit. And I think the output that that's had on my like personal life has really allowed me to like have this fruitful life in all areas of my life and not just business focused. For so long, I had been laser focused on growing the business that some of the personal, you know, aspects of life had taken a back seat. And so now I feel like I have just so much enjoyment in my day and enjoyment in our company and our team and our growth. And that feels amazing. And it wasn't always the case. So I'm really, really glad to be in this place right now.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. I kind of just this month really hit that stage as well, where, you know, you have your hustle period of business where you're just really focused on the grind and just getting your idea out there and making it actually work and create those processes and systems. And then you have your team stage, which is super scary to step into. But then like once you do, it is like the most magical feeling. Especially after, I always say like the first 3 months are kind of your trial period in the sense that you're still getting to know your team and what they're capable of and vice versa. And that's actually, I hired a website designer who ended up being my director of operations and like within 4 months of working with me. So yeah, is that crazy? So I love hiring, and I think it is just an amazing thing that it can do for your business, but it scares a lot of entrepreneurs to make that final step. And now that I have like a really growing team and they're doing absolutely amazing and they're creating their own ideas and their own projects, and all of a sudden my business is now bigger than me. It's no longer just my ideas and my to-dos. Isn't that cool when that happens?
It's so cool. I feel like I was just saying this a couple of days ago, but isn't it wild when you have a company and you talk about the things you want to do? I just had this moment of realization at coffee with a friend that I'm just making stuff up every day and like working on it. And that's my job. I had this like very like out of body experience being like, what is this experience I'm living right now? This is insane, but so cool.
Yeah, same here. Like this year, I was able to travel. I was a stay-at-home mom while creating my business from the ground up for about 4 years. And now my kids are in school and I have a team to handle my business. And I got to travel like to all these cool places and do photo shoots and video shoots, and, which I'm sure you could appreciate as a photographer. I felt like a princess that day. It was amazing.
I think it's so nice when I mean, part of the reason that like we go into entrepreneurship, and I wouldn't say for me at least it's the entire reason, but it's to have the freedom to like have the lifestyle and run the company in the way that you want to. And for so many years, I couldn't see that light at the end of the tunnel. Like I also was so focused on just getting this out the door, you know, and making it happen. And I had a lot of fun doing that. So it wasn't always horrible, or, you know, it wasn't as like bad as some people make it out to sound. But now it's like part of the reason that we go into entrepreneurship is to have that freedom. And so if you don't exercise the right to the freedom, then you don't have it, you know?
Oh, I completely agree. And it's funny you said that because I just made like the first big step in, you know, that was non-business in my life. So I'm a former foster kid and I have been wanting to help the foster care community forever. But just between running the business and my children, and then before that, I was working multiple jobs. So I never really got the chance to just focus on that. And now all of a sudden I'm able to take that time and I'm applying to be a guardian ad litem, which is where you represent the foster care kids in court. And you just really make sure they're getting the best of everything and everything they need. And I couldn't have done that if I didn't, like you said, kind of like fake it till you make it. I made stuff up every day. I took the jump and I hired a team. And when I couldn't afford to pay that team, I was doing side jobs to afford it because I'm bootstrapped as well. And it's just like, I think when you really believe in a business and you love it, but you don't want to do all the to-dos in the future, you have to hire and you have to take those leaps and go through your hustle period. And one thing to remember is that no period lasts forever, right? You're always going to go into a new season of life.
Absolutely. But how cool that you now have the capacity to be able to give back and like really run your life in the way that you want to.
Thank you. What's one of the things that you were able to do once you were able to build that team and get in that stage that you always wanted to do?
Yeah, so many things. I feel like you probably can relate. But as soon as I feel like I've like cracked one nut, I'm like, okay, what's the next thing? And so I feel like this year I've had so much room and space to really like ideate on how I feel like I'm like, oh, now I have more space for other things. But a lot of the other things come back to the company as well. And so this year we've, launched so many new small like business entities of home studio lists. Like we just launched a vendor directory. We're going to be launching in Canada. And we're going to be launching like a series of outdoor locations too. So it's been fun to kind of like be able to have time to incubate new ideas and not just be in like constant maintenance mode. And then on the fun side, I also feel like I've been traveling a lot more. I went on a trip to Mexico a while ago and got to the airport and realized I forgot my computer. And a couple of years ago, I would have not gotten on the plane. I've gone back, brought the computer with me. And I feel like it was just such a testament to show up at the airport and be like, oh, I forgot my computer. Well, I guess I'm not bringing it. And so I'm with you on the traveling. And then also just, I think being able to really focus on things in my personal life. Like my boyfriend and I just bought a home and we're going to renovate it. And it's been so fun to have the time and space to like dream about that and, see what the future holds.
Congrats, that's so exciting. I love the stages that life brings us through. You got houses, some people like marriage and kids, and then others like to focus on their travel plans. And I think all these stages are so beautiful that, for me at least, my business has been able to provide that, like going on trips to see, I'm originally from Massachusetts. I currently live in Florida. And so I'm able to see my family in Massachusetts, the money that my business provides. And I think that it's really cool that you guys were able to do that. And now you're able to really be present in that moment, because I think that's one thing the hustle stage takes away from us is that we're not present. We're always thinking about business when we're in the hustle stage. It's really overwhelming, especially in our relationships.
Yeah. Oh, I can definitely relate to that for sure.
Yeah, I think most entrepreneurs will go through at one point or another. Yeah, that's so cool. And so you said you guys are going to be launching in Canada, which is awesome. So cool. And where do people usually find you guys? Where do your leads come from?
Yeah, so it is crazy. We don't spend any money on paid advertising. So we don't do Facebook or Instagram ads or anything like that. And our main traffic source is actually organic social. And so we are just driving leads from Instagram, Facebook, different community groups. We have a really solid repeat business too. About 40% of our guests turn around and book another reservation within a year. So we have a really solid repeat business. We have a really solid word of mouth business. And some days I feel like I'm just standing on a street corner, like screaming about home studio list. But I also have worked in startups where that organic business is just not very strong. And it feels like you're just spending money on problems that you don't know you have. And so I really appreciated and like embraced this time and where we're so focused on organic growth. And I feel like we're probably at the end of that, or like, that is strong. We know it works. We have great processes in place to keep it going. So this year, I'm really excited about new channels and really going to be like putting a lot of time and effort and energy into figuring out what are other channels out there that would be effective for us.
That is amazing. It's just the power of social media. It blows my mind because I still remember MySpace days. So I absolutely love like what it's doing for businesses. And I know for my clients, like they are completely blowing up on social media. We use social media here and there. We are actually a 100%, all my businesses are 100% organic as well. So I applaud you for that because most businesses are not usually do paid ads, like you said, but I felt like it was such a waste of money that I really focused on networking and, like you said, Facebook groups and just connecting with people online, especially after the pandemic. I feel like people are thirsty for that relationship. Like they just want someone to talk to. And if you're connecting the right people, I think you can really get some great leads. And what you guys are doing is so unique, which helps as well. My business was not unique and it still worked for me. But I think that's absolutely amazing what you guys are doing. And it sounds like you are headed for big things. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been great. And we work, a lot of our clientele are photographers and videographers. And I think just in general, that community is so social themselves and they're sharing a lot on social media and they share a lot of amazing resources with their clients. And so we obviously couldn't do it without them. And I'm so proud. I think like the thing I'm the most proud of is the community that we've built over the past couple of years. And it's so strong. And we truly just work with an amazing community of people. Our hosts go above and beyond. Our guests are super respectful. Obviously, we are a platform of real homes. And so these are people's actual homes and spaces. And our guests just have so much care for them. And I would be hard pressed to say that that's like not a unique thing in our industry. I know that, that's not the norm for some of our competitors and stuff too. So at the end of the day, I just feel overwhelmed with gratitude that we work with some of the best people, I think, in the industry.
That's amazing. And that's really what it's all about is building that community and your relationship with, your contractors and your employees and everyone that you're working with on a daily business. I think it's really important to be open to the people that you're talking to because you never know like their whole background. Like for instance, I had just a casual networking meeting with a gardener. And she already has an amazing website. She already has a VA. She didn't really need me. But after talking with her, she was so impressed that she shared me with 10 other people. So I think that, yeah, like being really open and like you said, shouting your business from the street because you never know who it's going to benefit, right?
Totally. I just moved to Denver. Well, I guess in the pandemic, that feels like not a long time ago, but it's coming on 3 years now. And when I first moved here, it was the middle of COVID. And so there weren't networking events. Like it was very hard to connect with entrepreneurs and, the startup community out here. And so this year, I feel like I made it a goal. Like I'm just going to be so much more active in that community. And at first, just doing something new is like, there's a hurdle and, you get ready and you're like, I don't want to go. I'd rather just stay home and like, be in my sweatpants. But it's been so fun. And so exactly to what you were saying, I think like just putting yourself out there, and I found such an amazing network out here. And now I'm like so hungry for more events. And whenever I see something pop up on a calendar, I'm like, I want to go to that. I want to, meet new people and meet people in our industry out here. And it's been such a fun process and exciting goal for the year.
Oh, 100%. I love networking meetings. That whenever I'm traveling, I'm pretty much going to some sort of like event or conference, or sometimes I even do local ones. I know in episode 1 of Virtual Antics, I actually went over all the ways that you guys can find events in your area. So make sure you check that out. But Hannah, what's your favorite way to find events?
Currently, I just have a really great group of other entrepreneurs. And so I feel like we have a text thread and we're always like, hey, come to this, come to that. And so I definitely appreciate the, introductions and connections through that group. We started it's called No VC Breakfast. And so it was started by another local entrepreneur, and she has just assembled an amazing group of other entrepreneurs, and we all get together, have breakfast, we talk about our goals, what some of our challenges have been. That's the one I look forward to the most. We all have like taken an active part in inviting other people that we meet to it. And so it's just been an incredibly vibrant, incredibly helpful community.
Awesome. I'm so happy that you guys found that support and that your business is going really great. Thank you so much for joining me on the Virtual Antics. I'm so happy I got to talk with you. Awesome. Can you tell everyone how they can find you guys?
Absolutely. So we are online, homestudiolist.com. You can check out all of our locations all across the US and Canada coming very soon. We have about 2,000 properties. So I'm sure we've got something near you. You can filter by state and see everything available. We are also on Instagram at Home Studio List. My personal Instagram is at Hannah Probar. I would love to connect. I'm always happy to be a resource whenever I can be. And again, thank you so much, Natalie, for having me.
Yeah, thanks. And we'll see you next time on the Virtual Antics podcast. Have a great day, guys.